Close. All right, and we should be live, ladies and gentlemen. We should be live. Hello, people from the world. Can anyone hear me, see us? Finally, some guests on the channel. We should be live. Let's get a couple of seconds, man, on the feedback, but we should be all ready to go. What a hot night here. All right. I can see ourselves, and you should be able to hear me. Can you do an audio check, man, please?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Can everyone hear?
All right, so I can hear you. Let's wait for the chat. Chat, let us know if you can hear us, see us. Should be able to see us and hear at me at least. And so let's get just that started, and then we can get started. All right. Wow, it's hot here.
It's hot, man. It's not too bad in London. It's a little bit better.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I think about 24, 25 degrees today.
Oh, I wish it was 24. We're talking Celsius if you're American, by the way. Gotta say that.
24 is what, 70?
Yeah, probably mid-70s. All right. Oh, wait, does anyone see us, hear us? I don't know if Inept is in the house.
I think Inept probably is. Inept, can you just let us know if the audio is fine, please?
I don't know if you might not be. You may not. They might not be able to hear you. But I can hear you. Baztoise. All right, so maybe this. Can you talk now, please?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Awesome. So let's see on the.
I can hear feedback though on your end.
Let's see.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
All right. Should be able to hear now. I checked. Should be able to hear now. Let us know, people. If there's anyone out there, just let us know if you can hear us. But you should be able to hear us now. Yeah, just tell us about yourself in the meantime. So let's test it.
So I'm Baztoise. I am a Pokemon hobbyist. I'm a collector first, and then I'd say I'm an investor. I've watched Pokemon since I was a kid, 10, 12 years old. And it sort of up to the age of 13 to 14, I watched the anime, had some of the cards, collected sort of base set, jungle, fossil cards. Then I got to sort of my mid-teens, and it wasn't popular anymore. It wasn't something that was really collectible. I was a bit of a nerd, and it's just something I kind of fell out of for a very, very long time. Then I had children, and during the pandemic, they started playing Pokemon Go, my son in particular. And essentially what happened was it kind of rekindled my curiosity around the hobby. And I just started looking at sort of what sets there are, sort of watching YouTube content. So, like the usuals, Leonhardt, Pokerev, Unlisted Leaf. I came across some of Danny Phantom's content, some Pokeballs content. Actually, the first person I saw making Pokemon investing content was Pokeballs. And how I learned about it was thanks to Leonhardt. So it's a strange one there because I remember him sending like boxes to Leonhardt, like mystery boxes or mystery board boxes. And that's how I kind of got to know about him. And, many years down the line, obviously, one of Sean's best friends said F. Leonhardt, which is actually quite funny. But actually, the first content I came across that was investing related content was Sean Pokeball. And then obviously I started looking at being able to pick up like booster boxes. Because actually, a funny thing is, when I was younger, we used to go and buy the packs, the individual packs from the shops. And I had no idea that you could buy the entire booster box because we just had about enough money to buy. We couldn't afford, my parents didn't have a lot of money. So my dad would not spend £3 or £4 on a pack um, for Pokemon cards for me. So essentially what we used to do is we just, try and hustle at school. We try and buy a pack here and there. But hindsight 2020, had I known, maybe I would have picked up a couple of booster boxes back then. But it is what it is. But yeah, so I'm a collector. I like weird and quirky stuff. I haven't spoken about it much on my channel, but I do like error cards, diamond cards, um, cards that are like off center. I've got some cards to show you. Like I've got some OC cards which I've pulled. So like, yeah, I love Pokemon, man. I just like everything about it. I like the products. I've got like an emotional attachment. But at the same time, over the years, I've learned that there is a market for this. And if I can capitalize on that, why not do that? And instead of just consuming content about Pokemon, I thought potentially it's better for me to actually create content rather than consume it because, I do watch people online, but I think it's more valuable for me to be able to build a community, to build people around me, just to help grow the channel and actually help people acquire product at really good prices, give them my take on, sort of the investing side, the consumer side, and, a few other things as well, maybe about people where I've disagreed with other opinions, but we can get into all of them. But yeah, I'm just a 30 in my mid-30s nerd, essentially, is what I am.
We all are. We all are. So, an interesting thing that you talked about there, you said a collector heart started as a collector, then became more investment. So you said, which is interesting, Pokevault, Sean, was the first one who got you into investing.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that? Like 2020?
It would have been, yeah, following on from sort of 2020. So in the early days when I first started watching him, it would have been 2020, 2021, about 3, 4 years ago. And I was obviously opening packs post-pandemic around that time while the market was just, crazy hot. Everybody was buying packs. Pokemon Go was available everywhere. And I didn't know a lot about the investing side at that point. And I was just buying like boxes, collection boxes, pins, any packs I could get my hands on. I was just ripping. And then I came across Volt, and he was talking about one of his videos. He spoke about his strategy for finding good sets. I think it went something along the line of top 10 card values, looking at $20 a card or more, and all of this kind of got me interested in, like, how do I look at this from a more objective way? And kind of, yeah, so that was kind of like my entry point into it. And I was obviously watching people like Danny Phantom who spoke about card value. So what I like about Danny is he doesn't claim to be like a financial expert in being able to predict prices. I think what he does is he just gives the data, like these are the autards, these are the secret rares, these are the shiny cards, whatever the hot thing on the block is, and he kind of gives you objective prices based on TCG player and stuff like this, and that kind of got me really deep into trying to understand this market.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, yeah, we'll touch on that later on. Another thing I wanted to add, which is actually I do touch it in a few of my videos, and that you mentioned is emotional attachment. You did say you do get emotional attached to Pokemon. I don't know if you were referring to like things such as booster boxes. You say you invest in, you buy, at least not to rip. But what's your take on that? So, do you think a good investor shouldn't have any emotional attachment to their investments, or because I'm also a bit myself. I'm also strongly against those people. The saying, if it all goes to zero, I'll have fun opening it. And then what I say is, well, let's say you're into traditional investments, which if they're investments, they're investments. Are you gonna have fun if the S&P goes to zero? Which probably going to zero to like a stock market index. So it's close to zero. But would you still say the same thing? Would you still be, I'm gonna have fun either way, even if it goes to zero? So what's your take on that?
Yeah, so my take on that's actually quite simple. It's very simplified. So the difference for me between a stock or a financial asset that we would invest in, like a traditional asset class, like stocks, ETFs, index funds, derivatives, bonds, all of these financial instruments that you can trade or invest in via a traditional a brokerage sort of account, right?
Yeah.
So with these, they're non-tangible assets. You put money into something and you never see it. There's nothing physical. So like if I take this card and I decide to buy 100 of these cards because I'm getting it at a good value, and I have some kind of methodology that tells me that this card is going to be worth 100% more in 12 months' time. Let's just hypothetical, right?
Yeah.
I have this here in front of me, which I wouldn't with a stock or a bond or an ETF. You see, these are tangible things that we hold and we can hold. Like, so that's another example, right? I have this Mu VMAX. It's not worth a lot. It's just a standard Mu card. I pulled this from Fusion Strike with my son. I managed to get it graded by PSA. It's really off-centered. I don't actually see it.
Oh yeah, nearly a
Yeah.
miscut.
Yeah, it's a miscut. It's really miscut because actually, if you look at this top corner here, you can still see the dot, right?
Yeah.
So this card here holds sentimental value for me because I'll probably never sell this, just because there are good memories attached to this where I pulled this with my son, and I pulled this from the same booster box that I pulled this from.
No way.
You're right. So it's like these two just go hand in hand. And I don't know if I could ever sell these. Like, so let's say that I didn't pull these and I just decided to invest in the Gengar VMAX because I knew 2 years ago that this card was going to be worth $500, $600, $700, right? There can be an argument that there's less emotion attached to it because of the fact that I just bought it and then I'm going to flip it, right? However, when you buy certain product and you open certain product and then you're able to pull cards like this, it's hard to not have that emotional attachment. Whereas with a stock or share, you can't hold it up like that. You can't see it, feel it, touch it. Now, an issue I have is I haven't got a huge, like crazy portfolio. We're probably talking multiple five-figure sums. Okay, so anywhere between conservatively removing my card collection, my single cards and graded cards, just my booster boxes, booster cases, collection boxes, tins, etc.
Sealed, yeah.
Sealed product. We're probably looking at somewhere between, on the lower end, about 20K. So that's pounds. So probably around $23,000 to $24,000. At a very conservative end, and maybe at like a very optimistic end, say $30,000, right? So that's just sealed. With raw singles and graded cards, probably looking at it somewhere between $8,000 to $10,000, right? So all in, we're looking at like 40,000. It's not a crazy amount of money. Yes, for some people it might sound like that. Yeah. But actually, one of the things I struggle with, and this is a very, very thought-provoking question you asked, so thank you for asking it, is that over time I have developed an emotional attachment to these things because I like Pokemon. I was we were talking earlier, and I told you I was driving. Like, I stopped at a shop, and I couldn't help myself. I haven't opened these, right? I'm going to open them live on the screen, by the way. And it's because I like Pokemon so much, because I love Pokemon so much, it's hard to not have that emotional attachment. And I would be lying to you if I was to say, it would be very disingenuous for me to say, no, there is no sentimental attachment. When I buy a booster box, or when I buy a case, or when I buy a tin, it is purely for me to just make the stonks and for me to make 500% return in 3 years, and I'm just going to sell it. It's not. It's more difficult because A, you like the thing, B, you're holding the thing, and C, you can see the value going up. And for sometimes it's difficult to actually offload. This is one of the really difficult parts of investing, actually. It's knowing when to offload, and I think those are the difficulties around. So there's a fine line between collection and investing. But I think it's difficult with something like Pokemon because we're fans, first and foremost. We like Pokemon because most people that are in the hobby like the hobby. They like the Pokemon. They like the different characters. They like the different species. And we have an attachment to that emotionally without even thinking about it. I think it's a subconscious thing. So actually letting go of product is quite hard. That Gengar VMAX, I might never sell it. It might be where my son, when he's in his 20s, decides, okay, Dad, this is enough. I need to buy a house, or I want to open a business, or I want to go to college or university. This is going to fund that. And then he'll sell it whenever he does. But for me, there are some things I just won't sell.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's something, as you said, my question was more of a, once you buy a product, so, you spoke about the Gengar and the Mew, which you pulled. So I understand that, as you said, you're a collector hard. You can see that those cards as a piece of your collection. Whereas, and we're going to talk about it as it's apparently a very hot topic. And then I'm curious, what you think about it. Japanese 151, which I saw, you got a pretty interesting position on it. Saw your video, and my question was more, let's say now you bought Japanese 151, you bought a decent amount, which, again, for people like myself, is actually a pretty large position, because, again, that's also, as you mentioned, your portfolio size, which you've been very transparent, even though it's yet to be proven. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing. But so it's all
one day,
Barrett.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build a wall of my entire collection.
Someone will build a throne.
Stand there like this and say, "Now talk." I'm only kidding.
Yeah. So I think it also has to do with percentage, right? Percentage of your wealth allocated towards investments, and of those investments, the percentage allocated to Pokemon investments, which are be seen as risky. I don't want to go into it because we will get into more technicals, and the chat will drop to 0 or negative. Negative.
Let's start cursing. Everyone will start listening.
I mean, that's kind of how it goes on YouTube, doesn't it? More you curse, more you yell in front of a mic. Maybe if I started yelling, people would listen. But yeah. So the question was, what about the products you buy? So now you pull. You didn't pull with your kids. You didn't pull when you was a kid either. You just bought it as an investment. Like, your initial plan was to buy as an investment. What if you build an emotional attachment? Could you build? I'm not saying like could an average people build an emotional attachment towards that item? Let's say again, Japanese 151 as an example, which you recently bought, and could that prevent you from executing if you had a plan, which we're going to talk in just a second as well. If you want to talk us about if you have any plans when you buy investments, Pokemon investments, and could that prevent you from future gains or losses, or just not executing the plan as it should have?
Yeah. So like I said, obviously.
Also, sorry, before you get started, would you mind putting the mic a bit closer if it's possible?
I can hold it. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
How's that?
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
So with regards to the 151 cases, those are pure investments and those will be sold when I've made around 100% on those boxes. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I got them at a very good price. I mean, you would have seen, otherwise, I would have been talking about Japanese 151 months ago, but I wasn't because there are certain nuances to the investing part of the business or the investing part of the hobby that tends to go over people's heads sometimes, right? So I believe, and I actually have a person on the ground in Tokyo who is a very close person to me, who is able to go to a lot of stores, outlets, the Pokemon Center in Japan, right? And when the reprint was announced, the prices were too inflated. I wasn't willing to pay the cost of what the cases were a few months ago. You know, 3, 4, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, the
Yeah,
cases
before the
were
reprint. Yeah. That was
they were
every.
very,
What
very
was
before
it?
the reprint.
2,000, 2K.
Yeah, we're looking at around $2,000, right? Anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000, maybe
Yeah.
even more at one point, right? I didn't keep an eye on exactly. They were just too expensive
Yeah.
for me to track. It wasn't something that was anywhere in my wheelhouse at the time. Now, in my head, I always thought sub $1,000. Now, I got those cases for way below that, right? I don't want to go into exactly how much, but it was sub 1,000 per case, right? Now, just as the reprint was being announced, as soon as it was announced, boxes started hitting the market, cases started hitting the market locally on the ground in Japan. This is what I was told. So my thinking was either the Pokemon company has released product early, which it's unlikely to be the case, or these sellers and resellers, or distributors as we call them,
Yeah.
were hoarding the product, driving the prices higher. Yeah, so that kind of it gave me the inclination that at some point we're going to have this much product hit the market, which will likely be swallowed up by the market anyway. However, when that much product hits the market, there's going to be way more supply than there is demand in the beginning. And what I was waiting for is the price that I was happy to pay, which was sub 1,000, closer to the $800 mark. When it gets to that point, I'm going to buy because I had funds set aside for that. Now, I know that at that price, even if this doesn't go up, 50% in the next 3 years or 5 years, I can hold for 10 years. You're right. It's a bit like what Rudy says. So Rudy from Alpha Investments talks about this a lot. Like, he has the ability to wait it out longer than most people. This is why
Yeah.
he's been able to find success. Now, in 2016, when he had all those XY boxes sitting in his bathroom, obviously he did not know or have any inclination that those boxes were going to go that high up. And there's no guarantee that that's going to happen with 151. But 151 at the price that I bought, for me, was a non-emotional thing. And it was like, those cases have been bought, they've gone into storage, I'm not going to see them, right? I will keep an eye on the market. And my investment style is, so I'll give you a little insight on my personality and what I've done with work and business, so that you kind of gives you a perspective on where I come from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're somebody who is, is a mathematician, you're studying math. I think that's really, really important when it comes to looking at data and looking at it objectively. In fact, I think some of the videos you've made are absolutely fantastic on the channel. I've seen them. And I know for you, it's just basic math, it's just very basic stuff. But actually, compared to 99% of investment content you see on YouTube about Pokemon, your stuff actually is stuff that is concrete, objective, and
Yeah.
and
Let me
actually
let me let me let
makes
me
sense.
send you let me send you a wire transfer right now. Let me click enter.
By the way, I've not been paid to say this. I'm saying this of my own volition,
He
right?
hasn't been paid
So,
yet.
yes, not yet. But to come back to my point, so I think investing requires objective investing decisions require some math objectivity, concrete financial modeling, but you must also have some kind of business nuance and business sense, because understanding data and figures is not enough, because you can run all of the figures and data in a business, right? And you can, like, for instance, if you're assessing a stock, you can have a look at its balance sheet, its assets, its liabilities, all of these different things. But how do you quantify for things like brand value, right? How many people buy Tesla because of the brand? How many people go to Amazon because of the brand? How many people buy Pokemon because of the brand? So there are some things that we can't quantify, like market sentiment as well. Maybe there is a model. Maybe you find something that you can actually accurately track sentiment. But coming from the background I come from and being involved in the real estate investment space, which is a completely different ballpark to Pokemon, and also having some experience in the stock market. And I actually had friends that had been owners of brokerage firms in New Zealand, London and New Zealand actually. So I kind of understand how the brokerage industry works on the back end, not so much from the investing and trading side, but more from the running of the business of a brokerage firm, right? So I have that kind of insight into essentially understanding when is a good time to buy and when is a good time to sell. Now, somebody like yourself would look at it objectively and say, look, I'm going to decide that when it hits X percentage, or when volatility is at a certain point, or you're looking at market depth, and you're having. I watched that video of yours, by the way, great stuff. It's like
More money on your way.
These are technical indicators, and they help you decide when are good and bad times. But ultimately, the individual needs to click that button and make that sale or sell that product, or meet somebody or have a network that they can offload that product to. So for me, the one coming back to 151, the price was just so good, and the hype on the set was just so good in the past, that for me it was like, if I don't buy it now, yeah, it was a no-brainer. If I don't buy it now at this price, and I got 10 cases at a really good price that I can just put away, and I'll just sit it out. If I have to sit it out if it goes up 100% in the next 2 years, 3 years, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to offload half my position. Because then what's going to happen is I'm going to have 5 cases there paid for, right? And then I can let it run. It's like in investing, like when you buy a stock, you have scaling in and out of positions, right? So you buy 1,000 shares for $1 a share. When that share goes to $2 a share, you sell half your position, you've covered your entire cost, and you let the remainder run, and you cover your position at break even. So if the absolute worst case scenario is you break even on that trade, you don't lose anything. The other 50% of your position, you continue to let it run, and you allow your stock to continue going up, and you keep taking profits along the way, right? And that's kind of like, it's kind of what I want to do with Pokemon.
Yeah.
I've not been in it for 10 years, so I can't really testify to having done that. But that's kind of the strategy I would take.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that you brought it up. You compare to a stock, to selling shares, and
Yeah.
you just basically served me my next question, which is, so you said you want to offload it. I mean, you would be offloading with no problem off half of your position if it were to double or even triple. So 120%.
Yep.
And you mentioned about the shares. So the thing is, we know, being average Timmy's, selling 5 cases of 151, which is, let's say it's going to go to 2K a case in X years. So it's 10K worth of product. Is that going to take the same time as selling 10K worth of shares?
No,
And are you concerned about the liquidity factor? As in, obviously, are you going to find a buyer at that point? What's your feeling in the market? Because the reason why I don't know if you watched my video. That's the last video I posted on 1.1, which I finally bought it.
Yeah.
Um, and I did explain, for those who watched the old video, that I only bought 6 boxes. And my concern, which was the number of people hoarding onto this product, Japanese 151. I've never seen so many people buying and stocking up 151, Japanese 151, honestly. And that was, you know, I don't want to call it a red flag, but, there's just like there's you, there's me, all the people buying now, they're going to be happy selling at 2x. They're going to be happy profiting once and if it gets to 2x. Now, the problem is, if all these people are thinking this way, let's try to ride this wave until it doubles. It's going to create an effect, a chain effect, that it needs demand to get to 2x, because the moment you just want to offload it, you got to find the liquidity, you're going to find the demand. Did you think about it when you were in the buying process? Have you ever?
I did. So everything I buy, I understand that there's some risk associated to it, right? Now, one thing I'd advise anybody that's looking at Pokemon investing is just understand that this is not the same as stock investing. This is not the same as ETFs, index funds, bonds, none of that. It's not like any of that. This has the potential to go to zero every single time, right? That potential realistically exists. Objectively, it exists. Now, when I'm buying, the reason why I never allocate more than 5% of my gross net worth or my net worth is for that very reason. It's the risk that I'm carrying every time I purchase that product. How much am I willing to lose of my net worth if this was to go to zero? So when I purchase a product, in my head, that money is gone. I'm never going to see a profit on that money, right? So that's one thing, which is psychology, because when we're looking at investing and trading, psychology is a very, very important part of that process as well, which is something that is often neglected, right? Now, but what I have done to mitigate my risk, it's not financial modeling, it is not projections or predictions, it is build out my network of people that I could offload this to should I need to offload it without putting it on eBay, on TCG Player, Card Market. And I urge anybody that is looking at investing and investing significant sums of money. Now, I've been very transparent with regards to roughly what I'm holding, right? With regards to sealed product. It's not crazy, but it's still a decent amount of money, right? Now, what I've done along the line is, if anybody is even thinking about that level of investing, you need to have the ability to offload it, because guess what? When you want to offload that product, you're gonna need eBay, TCG Player, Card Market, right? These are three. In Europe, we got Card Market. In the US, we've got TCG Player, and then worldwide, we got eBay.
eBay,
Those are probably the three most. You're gonna pay 13% to eBay. Whatever the fees are for Card Market or for TCG Player, I don't know, because I've never sold on those platforms. But let's just assume it's about the same as eBay, 13 to 15.
Car Market is actually pretty good. Car Market is 5%.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say you're in at 5%, right?
5-10%
At the lower end. Somewhere between 5 and 10%, you are going to have to pay that cost. What you're also going to be doing is you're going to be competing. Now, actually, it's funny, we're talking about this live. I was actually going to do a video about some of the downsides to Pokemon investing, but we'll talk about it now. I mean, I can still do a video because 90% of people probably want to.
Yeah, fair.
But one of the downsides of investing is that, yeah, okay, you buy the product, okay, even if it does go up 100%, When you want to offload that, there's going to be 100 other people trying to offload that same product, and then it's a race to the bottom, right? So then you've got fees to factor in and consider. You've also got all the competition. So when you're on eBay, unless you're the cheapest listing, you're going to be competing with all the other listings, and then it's a race to the bottom. Okay. So liquidity at that point becomes a problem. So anybody that I would advise, anybody that is genuinely looking to invest a small part of your net worth, money that is not money that you will depend on. You're not going to retire a millionaire on Pokemon unless you're somebody like Rudy. Rudy is the exception. He is not the rule. He is the exception in the hobby. Okay, there are other whales out there as well, but we probably will never know who they are.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
But we can't concern ourselves with these people because we were likely not statistically, we are not likely to have enough time, have the have enough luck. And I don't like to talk about luck, but he said it himself. He was quite lucky on many things, right? We can't quantify that, but there is an element of luck. So we are not going to be at that level. People aren't going to retire millionaires on Pokemon. You might be able to make 50, 100, 200% maybe in 10, 20 years. Okay. So what you need to be doing is if you are going to be purchasing these products, in the meantime, you need to be building out a way that you can offload this. Now, for me, I have friends that own LGSs, LCSs, local game stores, local card stores. I know a lot of streamers that stream on places like Whatnot. I myself used to stream on Whatnot. By the way, I came off of that when there was all the scams going on and Blake's breaks, all of these things were covered by Rat Pokemon. You know, you did an excellent job at that. So I distanced myself from that. But while I was at it, I also visit a lot of shows. I know a lot of vendors who I can take these boxes to. And even if I have to sell it at 70% market value, I have options there. I have minimized. Now, there's no guarantee that they're going to buy this from me in 3 or 5 years' time. But at least I know in my phone book right now, there are 10 people I can pick up the phone to and send a message to and say, listen, I have 10 cases of 151 sealed from Japan. I have the invoices. I've got everything for you. What are you going to give me for this? And if I'm desperate, even if it's at cost price, at least I make my money back. Do you see what I'm saying? But I've already, from the beginning, made the assumption that this money, I'm not going to, it's at zero right now. And it's not money that I need. I think that people take investing in Pokemon too seriously, bro. If you ask me, they take it way too seriously. I know I make Pokemon investing content, and it gets some of my biggest views have been on buy this today, buy this now, this is the best product, blah blah blah. But I think people just take it too seriously, and it shouldn't be the number one thing in the hobby that people are focusing on. Yes, buy product, collect product, invest in product with the hope for it to go up. I know hope is not a great thing, especially when we're talking about 5, 10, 20, $30,000. But it's not a retirement plan. We're not back in 1999 where people have base set booster boxes sitting in their mom's basement that are just going to be worth $250,000 20 years down the line. Nobody knew that was going to
Uh,
happen. Nobody.
yeah. I mean, to that argument, actually, you could also. I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen. Nobody knew. Nobody knows. If we knew, we'd all be rich, right? If you knew
100%.
what was gonna happen tomorrow, you'd be rich. But it gets me thinking. Um, so in this like 25 years time span, what Pokemon has done, what it has achieved in terms of performance, seeing it as an investment, obviously it was able to get to that level because of everything around the IP, how the Pokemon grew as a company, Pokemon International. They expanded on video games, TCG, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Obviously, I believe a big part of the revenue comes from merchandise. But anyways, they were able, Pokemon investors or Pokemon collectors found themselves with boxes, cards worth a good amount of money, also because of how Pokemon was able to expand. Now, it gets me thinking. So they're two completely different things. They're two different, let's call them assets. They're two different things. I don't want to categorize them too much. It gets me thinking. Actually, I was thinking about Bitcoin, but even if you think about the stock market, which they're three different separate things. They can all be treated as financial instruments, but the underlying is different things. Just try to treating different things. However, if you look at the first 10 years of Bitcoin, which is actually 2008, 2018, got that enormous gain, and then what happened afterwards? If you look at the first 10 years of the stock market, first 25 years of the stock market, sorry, well, look what happened afterwards. Then you have 50 years of the stock market. Look what happened after 25 years following that 50 years. Again, they're they're three different separate things. There's different underlines. However, if the sentiment is there, which, I'm not too much of a bull, to be honest, but it's just a kind of argument. And I always say, if things happen in the past doesn't mean they're going to happen in the future. However, it's not a guarantee that we will never see such returns. Now, I'm with you. I'm sure many people are with us. It's going to be very tough. But could it be because people think it's tough? It's not going to happen. That it may actually happen. What do you think? Do you think it's realistic that history could repeat itself, and we could see enormous gain 20, 25, 30 years from now?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. Honestly don't know. If I had the answer to that question, I would put all my money on it, and I'd make sure my children retire multimillionaires.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, coming back to what you said about what we were saying about, let's take Pokemon back 20. It's been around for 28 years in Japanese, 25 years in English, right? A lot of investors, hot take, a lot of big boy investors in Pokemon did not start off as investors.
Yeah.
They inadvertently became investors because they happened to have products that they had no clue would be worth more money. Right? Nobody could envisage that a base set booster box back in 1999, the first set box would be worth $200,000 to $300,000. Nobody can come and talk to me and tell me that they knew that was going to happen. They did not. Right? They inadvertently happened to have this. Logan Paul came, shoved his meat into Pokemon. We had the pandemic, which was a black swan event that caused massive hype and hysteria. Couple that with the catalyst of the internet and information-rich society is what allowed this to happen. Now, whether a catalyst like this or multiple catalysts like these happen again in the future, we just don't know. But nobody can tell me when they were picking up Legendary Collection boxes or Rocket First Edition boxes or Gym Heroes boxes that, yes, this box one day is going to be worth $30,000, $50,000, $100,000. Nobody knew it. They inadvertently became investors and big ballers on the back of, look at Rusty TCA Gaming. I love Rusty. Absolute gem of a person. I've had a chat with the guy multiple times on Instagram. We message each other. The guy has uncut sheets from like 25 years ago, right? Original hollow uncut sheets. 111 cards on one sheet or more, slightly more or less, right? His collection is probably worth millions in just like the crazy obscure stuff he has. He was buying these sheets for hundreds of dollars, Barrett.
Yeah.
Do you think Rusty knew that he just bought them because he thought they were cool? Do you think, honestly, and I know Rusty would attest to this, he would have had no idea that these things are going to be worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, right? So coming back to your point, we just don't know. I don't know. I would like to think that if in 5 or 10 years' time the product I'm holding is worth significantly more, that I use my brains at that point. I don't get too emotionally attached, and I just go, okay, let's get rid of this. Let me sort out my children, because I mean, like I said, I came from a family background where my dad would not spend $3 or $4, £3 or £4 on a pack of Pokemon cards for me, right?
We
I want my children to have the potential of, and along with a bunch of other things, right? So I have real estate, I invest in gold, I invest in precious metals, watches. I have a big, a big thing about watches as well. Um, so I've diversified my assets across the board, and Pokemon is just a small part of that. If we have a black swan event like the pandemic, like somebody like Logan Paul that comes and just sets everything on fire, and everyone's to the moon, stonks forever. At that point, I'd like to think that I'm in a position where I actually are able to offload this through the network I've built, through the connections I've built, in order to be able
yeah.
to realize those things. Because ultimately, look, we're all going to go. We're all going to perish. We're not here forever. Our ultimate reality is that every single one of us in 100 years from now won't be here. We can't take it with us when we leave, when we depart. So, what am I going to do with it while I still can to benefit my children, my family, or whatever? And if it's Pokemon that's made me, 100% or 1,000% return, great. And if it's not, then I've covered my bases through a bunch of other things: watches, jewelry, real estate, and that makes up a majority of it. By the way, Pokemon is just a very, very small fraction of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's also good that you brought up the fact that you do have connections the moment you want to sell, which obviously you don't know if these people are going to buy it, but at least you do have quite the network built up because I think it is a bit misleading when, you see a lot of content creators, you know, sitting on several cases, which can go up to, tens of cases, you know, if we think about Rudy, hundreds of cases, thousands for different sets.
Thousands.
But for the average teamie like you and I, especially myself, even 10 cases is a lot. Um, and offload 10 cases in a market, especially when those cases become expensive, may not be as simple. Now, I strongly believe,
But well, hold that one thought though. By
yeah,
the way, just to touch on this point, this is a very, very important point, and this is where it goes back to what I said to you earlier. Understanding the numbers and the data is super important. But what else is important when it comes to investing, and that's not just Pokemon, that's anything, is having business sense and a little bit more of a nuanced approach to how you offload and scale out of your positions. So one thing you would not do is, you see my 10 cases of Pokemon 151, the Japanese boxes. There is no chance in hell that I would dump 10 of those cases on one person at one time,
oh yeah,
especially not if there are hundreds of other boxes available in the market. This is where business sense comes in, and a bit of nuance comes in, a bit of experience comes in, where it's like you don't flood the market. You don't try to offload everything all in one go, because what happens then is then you have huge amounts of the same product coming onto the market. What you do is you piece that out
yeah,
over a period of time. Now, what the best way to do that is, I don't know. I will only know when we get to that point and when we know what they're going to be worth in a few years' time, 3 years or 5 years. At that point, I would sit down, I would reassess my portfolio and say, okay, maybe I can offload a couple of boxes to this person. I could offload a couple of cases to this person. I'll watch the market for another 3 months, see where cases are. If we're still pretty much in the same spot, let's just get rid of them and piece them out. So this is where you actually are able to navigate the way that you're going to offload and get rid of this product, because it's not a good idea to, this, some people think I'll just buy 10 cases, which for a lot of people is a lot of, it's a lot of product, bro. 10 cases this could be like $6,000-7,000 worth of stock, right? It's $6,000-7,000 worth of
Yeah.
booster boxes at if you're buying them at $600 a pop. But I wouldn't personally offload them all in one go or try to offload them. I'd piece them out or either break them down into individual boxes and look at what the best way for me to sell those and get rid of
Yeah.
those in a timely manner. But sorry, I cut you off, bro. I thought it was really important to just talk about it.
You basically also just said, you pointed out the fact that offloading this product may and most likely will take time. It's not gonna, selling, you wake up today, you say, I want to sell. Well, you might, if you have a good network, you might sell tomorrow, you might sell today, but it may take time. And also the same thing you touch is, I see this more with singles. So for let's say entertaining purposes, I have a video which I'm gonna try to record. It's basically it's gonna be about I tried flipping singles for X months, days, weeks, whatever. But my strategy wasn't like what the usual flipper would do. They would buy out collections, buy out, get cards, try to get 5-10% margins, constantly, flipping through inventory. The strategy
churn and burn.
Yeah. The strategy was, okay, look at cards that have potential, show the people of YouTube that you can identify cards that have potential, and then sell and get a good percentage of those cards. And spoiler is, most of I haven't lost any money. I made a good amount of money, and most of the cards, half of the cards where I was able to get a 100% profit, net profit.
That's pretty good, bro.
So, but
That's
the
really
thing
good.
is, to do that, you gotta. It's easier with singles, especially when the set's new, because there's not as many singles in the market. Which goes back to what you said about offloading product all at once. If you buy product all at once, you want to try to get, part of the strategy is you want to try to get as much cards from the same sellers as possible. The moment you do that, you create demand. When you buy, you're taking supply out of the market, that creates demand. People looking at that card, they see that the card is no longer there. People think, okay, this card is sought after, people want it, so it generates demand. Which, in mathematical terms, actually, which I'm sure none of you cares, but I'm going to say it either way, because no one can stop me. If you look at demand and supply as equations, demand is let's call it a function that depends on supply. Supply is a function that depends on demand. There's also other variables, but supply depends on demand. Demand depends on supply. You can study those mathematically, but we're not going to go over into it. But people need to understand, when they buy, they create a demand, and the opposite. When they sell, as you said, if you try to offload 10 Groudons from Paradox Rift all at once, not saying that I ever have had any 10 Groudons ever. I definitely didn't buy out all the Groudons over the 20 euros. If you list them all at once, those 20 Groudons, people are not going to buy them because they see them there. If you list them for what is market price, and the gain has already happened. So what I mean is, if you buy them at 20 and the market is at 50, you list 10 Groudons at 50, you're not going to sell them. It's going to take time because people see that supply is there, which is actually what's happening with many of these illustration rares. The gains have been made, and people are now offloading, which is why price is going down. Because once it gets there, it's a race to the bottom. I hear many people saying it's not going to go back to previous lows. For this newer card, it's possible. I've always I have this thing when people say it's not going to, it will, it, you know,
Yeah.
when they talk, uh, let's say
I'll be
future
honest with
present
you.
time, I just
I've
hate
been
it.
guilty of I've been guilty of that myself.
It's all
Like,
right.
you get this false sense of security, but then you have to snap yourself out of it because you can never say never.
Yeah.
I've actually changed my stance a lot on uh, sealed investing because of the fact that the market is very fickle, right? And objectively looking at stuff, you can never say that it will
Never.
always go up. You can never say it will always make 100%. This is why I've made content on other creators that have said stuff that is definitive that I have an issue with, because the minute you start making absolutes and definitive um, sort of projections and predictions, that is a big no-no for me, because actually people are sheep. Generally, people are sheep, and creators have a responsibility to make sure that the information they put out is clear. If you're just having a bit of fun and you're like, I'll just have a stab at predicting rough prices that I think it could be, um, and you make that very clear, then okay, I can even reason with that. But when you create content and you're like, everything to the moon, this is going to be 400, 500, $800 in 3 years, and in 5 years it's going to be $1,000, bro, what are you basing your predictions on? Show me the model. You can't say to me that X set from Sword and Shield has similar top 10 card values as Y set from Scarlet and Violet. So the Y set from Scarlet and Violet, basically X equals Y because of nothing in the image.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
It makes no sense. So you're
yeah. I
right,
mean,
bro.
the thing is, the if you try to do this stuff, the models get so complicated. They get caught up with trying to forecast, trying to predict, because there's so many variables. You can take into consideration that it just gets gets complicated, and at some point it even gets to being pointless. But which
And
is
bro, the other variable. Sorry to cut
yeah,
you off, bro.
yeah, no worries.
But the other variable that's missed a lot of the time is that to manipulate price is not difficult
No,
in
absolutely
the
not.
hobby. In
Absolutely
this
not.
hobby, all somebody has to do is have deep enough pockets to clear out the market of any given asset, any given product or card or booster box case, for then there to be no supply, unless Pokemon Company comes and starts reprinting. Now, this is
Yeah.
hypothetical. It's obviously unlikely to happen, but if in reality, if somebody had deep enough pockets or a group of people got together and bought out one of something, whatever that is, it could be Temporal Forces single pack blisters, right? Single booster packs. They came and they said, we're going to buy every single one on the market across the board. There'll be no Temporal Forces left. And if that set is popular enough, it's going to drive up the price. Did you know that on the higher end auctions? So we're talking about like hyper expensive cards. We're talking about the most obscure cards on the hobby, like snap cards. We're
Yeah.
talking about illustrators. All of these cards. That market, like it or not, people, it's controlled and manipulated. There are a small group of people who own those very elite level cards. If let's take the Charizard base set, the first edition Charizard, right? Let's take that as an example. There are some people that own multiple copies of that card. They paid $200,000 for the card. They might have dollar cost averaged in, and they own two cards, and they're in at $300,000 on two cards. What do you think they're going to do when the third card comes onto the market via PWCC, golden auctions, whatever there are, right? They're going to want that card to sell for close to, if not higher than what their cards are worth and what they paid for it. Why? Because if that card now sells at $125,000, guess what that does? It sets the precedent for what a base set first edition Charizard is worth. Now, their $300,000 that they spent on those two cards is worth 125 plus 125, 250. So they've just lost 50 grand of value on their two precious cards. So guess what they do? They come in. Might sound like a conspiracy theory to many of you, but it is a fact. They will come in and they will top up the price and buy the additional copy, or they'll get their friend to buy the copy, or they work away for that market to stay at a certain level because they don't want it to drop. So if you think manipulation is not possible and doesn't happen in this hobby, it happens on a day-to-day basis. Look at this card. What was this worth
Guess
very
like
recently?
15 out of release, maybe 15 euros, pounds, dollars, yen.
And then they got bought up. They got bought up on TCG Player and they skyrocketed, and now they're back down again, right?
Yeah.
So don't ever be fooled into thinking that this market is the most robust market. It is not. All it takes is enough money and enough brain power to manipulate that market.
Yeah.
As I just gave you an example of the ultra high end cards and singles, and this can be applied across the board
Yeah.
to anything within the hobby.
Yeah, I mean, I think you even might have picked like one of the worst actual example. I would have gone with something more low supply, which at
Gold
that
stars?
point, yeah, like at that point, if you go something like very low supply, you're gonna, there's such a small amount of people interested in that card, then you set the price, which is kind of, but yeah, now I mean, now that I mention IRs, illustration readers, I did make kind of a video, the IR fever, which the plays were in illustration readers, like some great plays were in illustration readers up till a month ago. Now that everyone's talking about it, every time a new set comes out, people are looking at IRs they can buy. People are already talking about the Squirtle and is it Charmeleon? No, the Bulbasaur, the Squirtle and the Bulbasaur from Stellar Crown. They're already talking about
Yeah, I've got
it.
one. I bought the Japanese versions.
Yeah. So they're
lovely
already
cards,
talking
man.
about it in English. They already want to make the play. Now that's when you know that market is saturated. Can you make plays? Yes, but what could happen is, which kind of what happened to the Eevee. It's going to come out. It's going to go up. And again, it comes down to risk aversion. It comes down to personal, again, how you tolerate risk. And strategy. I don't want to see a card coming out of the gate and going up. If that happens, I'm not interested. As a evil flipper. As a collector, I mean, if I like it, I most likely buy the Japanese version. It's going to cost me a tenth of the price. But
I love Japanese cards. Great value, bro. That's exactly what I do. I buy all of the cards in English that I really like, that I don't want to spend crazy amounts of money on, that I just want to collect. I buy the Japanese because it's a fraction of the price. The card quality is great. The card stock is great. The print quality is generally better, especially on modern. And it's not nice to see. You're right, especially for somebody who's flipping when they come out the gate that high, and then they pretty much every time they just drop. Within a week or two, they just drop. It's just there are certain plays where I think if you're first to market, you can definitely make money. But then it's so many people looking at this market now that it is quite difficult to catch those plays and to catch them consistently.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that's literally what I said. Like, there's now everyone is looking at. I talked about the IR market. Everyone's talking about it, so everyone's looking, and it's gonna be tough because people are gonna be interested in these cards, and they weren't up till a couple months ago. Some were, but not as many as today. So now they see the play, and that's why I'm no longer looking into that market to make plays. Not financial advice, but in the EU, look at Vistar Universe gold cards. and thank me in a couple of months. Not financial advice. But I
Not
mean,
financial advice.
not
Talk about
never,
V-Star
never,
Universe.
never. Yeah, I mean, Vista Universe,
I do love V-Star Universe.
great set ever
What
created by
about?
mankind.
So I haven't got cases, but I've got 10 booster boxes. So for me, and I opened a lot of V-Star. So I kind of got the V-Star bug out of me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, V-Star is a great set, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely
you
brilliant set.
get the
Love it.
guarantee hit, and then the depth of that set. And remember, Vista Universe has cards that are, as promo in English that they are in the set. I'm thinking about the 3 birds and the Lucario that you
Yep.
get on the ETB is a set card in Vista Universe, and then you just got the God Pack. Just a great set.
The potential. No, the set is. I have to agree with you. I think.
It's. I mean, in my
I'm
opinion,
sure you've done.
it's my opinion. It's better artwork wise. It's better than 151. 100%.
So yeah, bro, I've got to agree with you on that. So I think all of your objective math aside, if we were to remove all of the data and we just look at the set for
Art,
what it
yeah.
is, it's stunning, bro.
Which
Absolutely
I mean,
stunning.
I think that's also should be part of everyone's strategy. Just look at what's in the set. I mean, after all, you're buying. One could argue little pieces of art. So even though it's
Bro, and this is exactly how I see it, bro. You know the problem though is people jump on the bandwagon.
yeah.
Let me give you an example. Right?
Twilight.
The Greninja, right? Let's see if it stays where it is. But let me give you an even older example. Shining Charizard. Hot take, right? Tell me what's special about that card.
I mean, it's a shining. We've seen that. It's his art. We've seen that.
There is nothing. It's literally a Charizard with its back to you, its backside hanging out, and it's basically a black Charizard in the sky, and there's literally nothing else.
Yeah.
But look at the cost. Look at the value. Look at the value.
I don't get why the Brilliant Stars art gets so much hate. I mean, I've seen people don't like it.
I love it, bro.
It's battling with the Venusaur. What else would you want? I mean, and you know what I really like?
Bro.
Yeah, there you go. How could you not like that card? And
so I was never able to put it.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Pokemon cards.
Night.
The thing with cards is the moment you see them in person, it all clicks. You look on a screen. There's no textures, no hollow, no foiling, nothing. It's just a artwork, which could be obviously drawn on a computer. It's flat, doesn't give you any emotions, any feelings. Then you look at it in person, you see it shine, you see the texture, you see details that you did not see on the screen, and it just clicks. That's one thing I found just by looking at cards. Just you understand how good or bad a card is by looking at it, but having it in person. And I think a great example, and I think it's I'd say trading at a really good price. It's the Zard from Obsidian. The only downside to that card is a pull rate. Pull rates are fairly easy, but artwork wise, and I'll pull it up. It's a great card.
Here's a hot take, bro. I don't know if you know, but I hold 8 cases of Obsidian. And it's not because of just the Zard. When the set came out, and this is why I say to people, you can't compare sets objectively in the future. So, for example, when Obsidian Flames came out, we would not have known what, we get a slight indication of the future through Japanese sets, obviously, because the Japanese sets come out and then we get an indication of the set
Yeah.
lists, the cards within those sets were released before. But like to compare, for example, Burning Shadows to Evolving Skies, a year apart, nobody at the release of Burning Shadows would have known what was coming in Evolving Skies, for example, right? And this is the thing with a lot of sort of like trying to compare sets in this way. It doesn't make any sense because at the time when, for example, Obsidian Flames came out, and I guess it's a lot of stick, but I actually like the set. I like the set. And it's not just because of the Charizard. I think the Charizard is very unique because I think in Scarlet and Violet, that Charizard was the one that set the trend for all of the rest of them, right? In the sense that it was a completely different style of artwork, and a lot of them are like that. I managed to pull a couple myself, and I don't care the fact that the pull rates are easy on it. I like all the other artwork as well within the set. And my hot take is a thing that people will in the future look back at it and they'll just look at the art from Obsidian Flames and think, you know what, this was actually a solid set. It had some good different IRs. It's had a couple of decent SIRs. Yes.
Look at it.
There's big boys, Artie.
I mean,
It's beautiful, bro. I've got two of them. I pulled them from two random blisters like this. One came from a box, one came from one of these. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just again, I always thought it was pretty good. And the thing is, the more it keeps dipping, the more I feel like it's a great card. You know, I don't like paying for cards at all. And getting this, I got this for so shipping in the EU is the main thing. Shipping in the EU is really expensive compared to places like the US. Shipping within the EU get up to, minimum is 10 euros. And that's like the cheapest service you can get.
That's
so
really
a problem.
expensive.
You gotta find, like if you want to buy a 20 euro card, unless it's in your country, your own country, you're gonna pay at least 10 euros. So I've got this with these guys, which I'm interested to know what you think. I do believe these have potential.
Love it.
And I got
that's one of the cards I could not pull from Astral Radiance.
And I got a raw one on the way, which I just bought for 40 euros. And this I'm happy to sell. And I got a raw one on the way. Oh, wait.
So that's a 10?
Yeah, that's a 10. Got a 10,
That's
got
lovely.
these two raws, near mint. One, if it wasn't for a teeny tiny nick on a corner, would have been 10 quality. But still, like PSA 9.
Do you use a middleman service?
No, I don't really. So I bought these graded. I don't really grade.
So I grade, but the only things I grade are cards that I've pulled myself. Only cards I've pulled myself, like the Gengar.
Interesting.
This here I bought because I could not pull it. I opened so much Brilliant Stars, and the PSA 10 at the time, the PSA 10 was really expensive.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just see if I can find the Beckett 9.5. And let me see how much I paid for it, actually. Hold on.
Yeah. You know what I missed? I mean, I regret not buying when it was in the low hundreds, which I think I've always thought it was great artwork, great card, and it's now proven to actually be a pretty sought after card. It's a Lugia from Tempest.
What was it? It is a good card, man. I never managed to pull that. And actually, to be honest with you, it's at a price now where I just... Yeah. This is another thing. Because we're investment bros.
Yeah, like after it gets to a certain price point, I just don't want to buy anymore.
Yeah.
Because
So this is a very, very important thing, by the way. If anybody watches this, obviously we've got a few people watching live, but I'm
yeah,
sure this people will see this in the future, right?
yeah,
Guys, if you're watching this, just understand that in order to be good at this, you must also know when something is not worth buying.
yeah,
Okay. So for me, for example, it makes no sense for me to pick up a team up booster box at $2,500, $3,000.
yeah, yeah. I
It
mean,
doesn't make sense for me to pick up a Cosmic Eclipse booster box at $1,000.
yeah,
You
I
just
could
let that
argue,
go because there's going to be
I could
plenty
argue
more
that.
effects.
So I think we gotta distinguish between a collector and an investor here. Obviously, if you're a collector, you're not gonna care how much you pay. You just want it. Which you could argue maybe it'll go a bit down, maybe you won't. But if you're a collector, at the end of the day, you just want the car, you just want the box, just want the item. You're just gonna buy it.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
I think
But Cosmic
that's for
actually, I had been eyeing it out. Not at 1K. I did have one standing offer to buy 730 euro shipped to my door, and it was even maybe I could have negotiated a little bit more, some room, maybe 700 flat. But Cosmic at 700, I didn't buy it because I ended up buying the Vista Universe case. So, and that's another thing. There's when there's opportunities, you got. I had Cosmic, I had Vista Universe. I was still not sure about 151. Uh, if the moment you don't have the money for all of the opportunities that you think are good, that's also a thing. You got to make a choice, and that choice could prevent you from gains. That infamous opportunity cost. That's also a thing that just like Jimbo asks, what do we think about? Let me pin it. What do we think about EVO Skies at 650? Which, by the way, guys, if you have any questions, let us know. I didn't mention it. I thought it was obvious. Anything at all? Anything you want to ask? Our man here, Bass. Anything at all? Just let us know.
yeah, guys. Any questions? Be
That's what we're
no
here
problem
for,
in just asking.
aren't
So,
we? But yeah, any
exactly.
question? I mean, I have a problem.
So in,
I don't know what you think, but I have a problem with people asking, "What do we think?" And I mean, I appreciate the question. We're gonna get to that. Just out of the blue, what do we think about buying this at that price? And I'll tell you why I have a problem with that. Number one, I don't know you. I don't know your background. I don't know if 650 euro, dollars, yen, lira, whatever, pesos. I don't know if that's penny to you. I don't know if that's our money that it's going to take you several months to put aside. I don't know if your risk tolerance. I don't know if you're willing, if you acknowledge the risk involved, and so many different things, which I don't want to bore you guys. And I made a video on it. I could tell you, I can answer yes or no. But what would you learn from that yes or no? And that's the whole point of my channel, trying to have my viewers. I try to give my viewers food for thought and try to make them think. If I can make them think, I'm happy. If I don't want to say buy this, buy that, because I could, and maybe I would be right, maybe I would be wrong. Who knows? But what's the point in doing that? Not financial advice, by the way.
if I can just chime in on that, I agree with you because if you were a financial advisor, for example, or say you were looking at investing in a standard, you just wanted to build out a portfolio, and you went to a stock advisor or
Yeah.
a financial advisor. Sorry, what a financial advisor would you do? And I would tell you what I do in the real estate space because I deal with real estate investments. That's kind of my main line of work. And the first thing we do is we go to the person and we ask them, what are your goals? What is your risk tolerance? What is your budget? How much money do you have saved? what is your expenditure, how many assets do you hold that are liquid, how many assets do you hold that are fixed, that are not liquid. There are so many things. Are you expecting any children in the future? Are your expenses likely to go up? Is your income likely to go down?
Well said.
There are so many things that go into making these decisions. Now, I know we're just talking about $650, but as Barrett rightly said, it's very difficult for us as creators, and it would be disingenuous for us to say to you yes or no, because we don't know all of those nuances about your situation. £650 for me might not be a lot of money, but for another person, it could be a huge amount of money. You see,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
even
very difficult
myself,
for us to say yes or no.
for a good example, like even 650 for me, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not like 650 for you, because after all, we're also at two different stages of our lives. I'm much younger than you. I'll let you guess if you want. But also that comes with different income streams. Yeah, I think you
think you're in
well
your early
said, well
20s.
posed.
Look,
So
and
many
also,
things, so many variables that are unknown.
100%. Look, and the other thing also you need to consider is that, and you touched on this just now, it's the opportunity cost, right?
Yeah.
So does it make sense to sink the same amount of money that you could go and buy a case of booster boxes compared to just one box,
Yeah.
right? So you're going to spend $650 on an Evolving Skies booster box, or you have my hot take from Scarlet and Violet, Paldea Evolved, and Temporal Forces.
Wait,
I love this set. I love this set.
wait, don't move.
I think it's going to do amazing. And if I had 650, I would spend it on a Temporal Forces booster box case. That's what I would do. Oh, brilliant, mate. Lovely cards.
And
Absolutely
in
beautiful.
there, what I showed you, wait, I'm gonna reveal. These two are temporal, and that's my largest position actually.
I love this set, Dave.
I mean, I've always said it. I'm biased. The era I remember the most, and here you get my age difference, is black and white. So for me,
You're in your early 20s, aren't you?
what? Sorry.
You're in your early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, bro, like forget prices aside, right? Just go onto PokemonCard.com or whichever website you guys use to see the cards, right? Don't go on TCG Player, don't go on Pokedata.io. Just go to a website that has the set cards. If you type it into Google, you can just put Temporal Forces card list, and it comes up. There's loads of websites that just has all the cards, right? Sort from rarity downwards, right? And just look at all of the art, all of the SIRs, the IRs.
Well said.
Forget the prices for a minute. Forget the prices for a minute. Just the art alone. It's stunning. It's beautiful.
I mean, as I was saying, like for
there
me,
is an opportunity cost.
Yeah, like for me, this is Kabalion, this is Terrakion, which, by the way, I do have a Kabalion full art, an Italian, all beat up, but from my don't want to say childhood, but I was like 10, 12 back in the days. So I'm there's some nostalgia towards these cards, but look as you said, and Virizion, you got the three legendary beasts, dogs, call it whatever you want, in their ancient version, Guardian Fire, Walking Wake, which I pulled on a live stream on the channel. I pulled in the same box. I pulled the Walking Wake and the Ghastly to the same person who bought the packs. Unbelievable. And if you look at the artworks, and then you got the four
Beautiful cards.
the four trainers. One is a Morty with a Gengar. I don't know if it was the Salvatore that had, good
I
art.
have opened, bro. I have opened so many packs and I haven't pulled that. I need to pull that. I need to pull
Man,
that
you gotta-
Gengar, man. That
if-
Morty's
if-
conviction is. I'm gonna,
Just buy the car, man. Don't stop.
I'm gonna open
opening
2 packs while you're talking, bro.
No, don't do it.
I'm just gonna open 2 packs. I'm doing it. This is not investment, guys. This is enjoyment. So you continue talking.
Don't do, as a Pokemon investor, I dissociate for this. Don't do it. It's the worst thing. Oh God, I don't want to look. All right.
Imagine if I did pull the Morty's conviction.
All right.
Delcatty. This light is too bright.
Okay. Oh, it's all right.
Iron
Iron
Hands.
Hands. Roselia.
Roselia. Screamtail and a Feraligatr.
All right.
Nope. Okay, we got one more pack.
One more. Oh. You can just Raging Ball EX maybe double rare to break even. Man, you crazy. You're in.
Knowing my luck, bro, I'm not gonna get nothing. Pikachu. Ooh, Ghastly. I like it.
Not the one we wanted.
Good start. Sizzlipede. What's this? Reuniclus. Whimsicott. Oh, there's nothing. There's nothing. I ruined it. Koraidon.
Oh man.
Bro, I had to open some packs. First live stream I've done.
That's why you don't open packs, man.
Thank you for allowing me.
Yeah. Man. But getting back to temporal gray set. And I did a video, the Twilight video. I called it the nonsense of Twilight. I compared Twilight to temporal, and I tried to illustrate how much more temporal is made for collectors, and that's ultimately what you should be looking for in a set when it comes to investing. Got a lot of, not a lot, but got some hate for it. People calling me, oh, you don't understand, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. But getting back to EVO Skies, that being said, with the disclaimer, what I can say about EVO Skies is I do a monthly video where I track down on a monthly basis supply in the EU and the US. EVO Skies, so it's going to come up next week for the month of July, August. EVO Skies has been hitting the market like crazy. There's a ton of supply being dumped into the market. Yes, demand is still strong, but if you think EVO Skies as an item is rare, scarce, you're way off. There's plenty of EVO Skies. Yes, people like it, which is ultimately what you want to see. You want to see demand. However, demand can shift. That's how you got price movements. Demand shifts. So I would keep that in mind, that it's plentiful. And as Baz say here, maybe consider some other options, some other alternatives where you could park your money and potentially, obviously we don't know, see better returns. Maybe a temporal case. It may be some pull the evolved booster boxes, which again, I would rather go with. It also depends on the price point. I got my 2 cases for real cheap. But yeah, maybe consider options. I
actually, and another thing
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say is a really, really important part of the investing process, if we want to talk about it like from a very serious standpoint, is you make the investment, you give it the best opportunity of being successful at the point of purchase. If you're overpaying for stuff,
Yeah.
you're going to be waiting. The payback period on it is going to be significantly longer, right? Now we don't know the bottom. We'll never know the bottom. We'll never know the top, right? It is all speculation, right? We'll only know once it gets there. Every indicator out there is a lagging indicator. Whatever data we look at,
It's already
it's
happened.
already data from the
Yeah.
past. It's already happened, right? But as long as something is within your budget and you can get it at the cheapest possible price, I think that makes a huge difference in getting it at and understanding what good value is. Cases of 151 when it first came out, Japanese 151. It's because they were too expensive. It was obvious that how is this case selling at more than double what the case would normally cost, right? I waited until the point where it was. I probably didn't catch the bottom, right? I probably could have picked up cases at around 750, especially when you're buying that many cases,
Yeah,
right? 10
large
cases
amounts.
is for most people is a lot of cases, right? It's quite a big position, right?
Yeah.
But I knew that even if I'm paying 100 or 150, anywhere between 100 to $200 a case more than what the bottom was, I've still come in at a really, really good price. So it's being able to really understand what you're buying. And part of my investment, by the way, just so everybody is aware, English products in the UK, I buy it at wholesale. So I have distribution with 3 distributors. And distribution doesn't always equate to the cheapest price, by the way. Because just because somebody has distribution doesn't mean that they get the best price. So
Yeah.
I have very small accounts with distributors because I might spend, five or 10,000 or dollars a year or $15,000 a year on product. Whereas there are people spending hundreds of thousands of
Thousands.
dollars
Yeah.
a month with these distributors. So they're not going to give me booster cases at sub $500 or sub $600. I'm going to be paying, the last time I checked, the average price I'm paying for a booster box is 100 to 102 pounds a box. That's $127 if you were to do the conversion.
Too
I
much
can
if you
buy it
ask
on
me.
eBay for cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. I mean, in the UK, it's not bad. According to UK prices, another qualm I have is that for a very long time, the Pokemon Center was the exchange rates were not reflected in the price cross border. So if you bought a booster pack in the US, you pay 399 and you pay 399 in the UK. Actually, the value of the pound is stronger than the dollar. So why are we paying the same in terms of monetary value
Yeah.
as a whole number as they are in America? Right? Because the dollar is weaker than the pound. But why are we then, in effect, what we are doing is we are paying more than the American public. So you have it very easy in the States, guys, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
So we
mean,
don't get the same
it
level of.
if you're talking English, it has to do also with the fact that, um, I mean, up till English 151, it's confirmed they were already printing in the US. So English product
Yeah.
needed to be imported, and hence partially explain why we were paying
Yeah.
more, same obviously here in the EU.
Mm.
Um, Now, there's a debate. If you go onto the Pokemon website, it'll say that they're now printing in Belgium and the Netherlands. I do have booster boxes saying printed in Belgium and the Netherlands. So it says printed in the USA
In
and
English?
Belgium. Yes. So it appears like they're
Okay.
now printing in the EU. Now, some people say they package in the EU. And there's pictures of cases saying packaged in Hungary. However, it's also written printed in Belgium and the Netherlands. I do have a Paradox Rift booster box that it's printed in. It says printed in the USA, and Belgium and the Netherlands. All 3 of them. So it's a bit confusing. It
That's
appears like
interesting.
they're printing now in the EU. I wouldn't be surprised. They print Yu-Gi-Oh in Belgium, but it would explain the shitty quality, to be honest, because EU Yu-Gi-Oh, Euro Yu-Gi-Oh just sucks. The print quality is just awful from the factory in Belgium. But I think that's interesting. So some people say one thing, some people say others. If you go onto the Pokemon website, it says printed. And I don't know if so there's also for newer sets, there's cases that are no longer like 6x1, 1x6, call it whatever you want, but they're 2x3. So you got two kind of like the original Wizard of the Coast era. You got 2x3.
Yeah.
And there it says, it explicitly says EU, printed in the EU, and then it says EU on the, you know how you have a label and it says the set. After the set, it says EU in brackets. So that's 100%.
So it says SV 3.5, and then it'll just say EU.
It'll say EU,
on it, basically.
yeah. If you can find picture online of them. But so,
I need to go and check my cases. In fact, I bought some boxes recently. I bought some Paldea, Paradox,
I mean,
as well as
if the cases,
Twilight Masquerade.
if the
I need to
cases
check the
are
bottom.
6x1, they're 100% American. If they are 2x3, it appears like they're European. Which some people
they're all
ask
6x1, so they're probably.
Yeah, some people ask in the Discord if people are gonna ever like if there's ever gonna be a premium for these European exclusive. Which again, it's just the format. Obviously, cards are the same, and on the box it says printed in the Netherlands. I mean, the way I see it, people don't. I mean, many people don't even know the EU is not a country. I gotta explain that to some viewers. Yeah, Europe is not a country.
It's a continent, guys. It's a continent, by the way.
Europe is a continent. The UK is in Europe, but the UK is not in the EU any longer. Gotta say that.
Bro, don't blame me, because I voted to remain in the European Union.
Oh man, but
I love Europe too much. I love
Europe
way too much to want it to come out.
Yeah, but that's basically what's up. This seems to be printing so, and that's also why nowadays I see people selling box cases for cheaper than they used to. Some major European stores, one posted mine is Games Island for sealed product, German. You can find boxes in the low 100s, some boxes below 100s. And actually, if you buy a case, you get a discount. You don't have to pay a premium. You get a discount, which is pretty awesome.
In the UK, the cheapest price I can get a booster box is for, let me tell you, it's 81.29 plus VAT.
Okay, which is 20% in the.
And that's shipped, right?
Yeah. In the country of Africa.
So it's 97.55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Glitched. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You just closed for a second. Yeah. You were saying about the how cheap you can get boxes for.
Yeah, no. So
that's where you stopped.
97.55 is the cheapest.
Pounds.
That's the cheapest.
Yeah.
Yeah, £97.50.
So that's like $110, $115. Actually, $120.
The current exchange rate is $120. The current exchange is $129.
So yeah, about $125, maybe $124. Yeah, low $120.
$125.80.
Yeah.
Yeah, $125 basically.
That's it's expensive.
It's really expensive.
Yeah.
So I just go on eBay. If I want to buy a box, or what I will do is By the way, I do sell stuff as well. I do sell to people that I know in my network. So it's not that I just hoard everything.
Yeah.
Flip and fly. I don't know where that came from. Um,
I mean, you're lucky you don't have mosquitoes.
we get them, but they're not too bad. This is very rare because it's not hot enough to have mosquitoes here. But
Yeah,
we
I
do
mean,
get them sometimes.
I've been sweating this whole life. Right now it's 20 minutes to 11 p.m.
Yeah, it's 20. I saw your back when you got up, bro. The back was sweaty.
Okay, so it's probably like 30 still,
I'm very black.
28,
So
and the humidity is because so where I used to live, I mean where I live, up till 100 years ago used to be a swamp. The whole place was to be a swamp. So guess the humidity. It's kind of like I don't want to say Florida level, but it's tough, man.
ooh.
So that's why I'm all
Bro, you need to be careful of your cards warping, by the way,
I
because
know, but they're so the that's the thing. That's why I don't display them. That's part of what number one. I don't really have space. I will need to build something here for the video. Plus, I'm moving in and out of schools, so I wouldn't be here all the time. That's
Yeah.
why I keep them.
I think if
In a
the packs
closet.
are together and sealed in a case, it's not as prone to getting warped.
Yeah.
But I think once the cards are open and they're left like this, they definitely warp.
Oh
Because I've
yeah, they
tried it
do.
in the cold. I've tried it in the cold as well as in the heat, and it happens in both conditions.
Oh yeah, they do.
But
Yeah,
generally,
I know they do. They
yeah,
do. 100%. It's
yeah,
happened. Especially if
it's
they're
happened to
hollow.
me.
If they're hollow, they won't work. Yeah.
Yeah, hollow definitely they warp, man. Even the reverse hollow. So that's the problem with
Yeah.
and why this is even more important with Sword and with Scarlet and
Offload.
Violet,
Yeah.
and not just 151. I mean 151 as well, but just Scarlet and Violet in general is you have the two reverse hollows and then you have the hollow. So
Yeah.
you've now got three hollows per pack essentially, and on the new reverse hollows, the entire card has
It's hollow. Yeah.
yeah, this bit here obviously is just cardboard, but that entire card is
Hollow.
holographic
Yeah, I know
essentially.
they work. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's even a higher chance. I think there's a bigger chance of them warping,
Yeah.
especially in
Yeah.
Scarlet and Violet. Yeah,
It's happened. That's why I
yeah,
try to keep them. Usually when I do breaks, I cannot have them like on a desk. I don't have them, just floating around. I gotta keep them in closets, drawers, and I keep them in a box or I usually keep stored in after the breaks in an ETB, open ETB,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then
Compressed.
into the drawer ASAP. Otherwise, they work. Yeah, humidity all year around, both summer and winter here. It's pretty bad. And then you got the heat in the summer, which is yeah.
I want to know
As-
what you think about.
So you know what? So I saw a video of let's say an emerging PokeTuber like ourselves. Let's define us that way. And in his video, it was like the top promos to buy now, that sort of stuff, and it got a good amount of views. So he called that card limited. Now, wait a second. So I'm a math guy. So if you call it limited, it's actually correct. Every Pokemon card ever printed is limited.
Of course,
You have
of course.
if you think about limited as a finite amount, they're not infinite.
Agreed. Yeah.
Finite. Now, I did say if you refer, and I commented on that video. I said if you refer to limited as scarce, then we got a problem. Then I would, and he in the video himself said, I know there's hundreds of thousands of these cards printed, and I have people from the Netherlands in my Discord, and they do have reliable sources stating that these cards are printed. I don't want to say, but in the several hundreds of thousands of copies. I'm talking about the Pikachu.
Yeah.
Now, The problem is, how can you call that limited? Number one. Number two, it did say, it was speculating on the fact it was going to go up. Now it's that is possible. Now the thing, and I also said it. If you are in the U.S., you're not gonna find, and maybe also in the UK, you're not gonna find that card as available, and you may not have the feel that card is available as if you were like myself in the EU, where that card was manufactured. There has been a tremendous amount of copies in the market, on car market, on and off car market, and there still is. Yes, people buy it, people love it. I think it's cool. Have I bought it? No. Will I buy it? No. Why? There's too many of them. There's pretty sure there's more Pikachu printed than all Sword and Shield's alt arts combined.
There's a lot, bro. I personally got this with a purchase, just like a normal purchase. I tried the first time around, couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Second time around, I was able to get it, and I was actually also able to get the sleeves, so the Pikachu sleeves and Eevee sleeves. They were. I didn't go overboard. I didn't go crazy. I bought two 60 card. So two sets of the deck, basically the sleeves. Two Pikachus and two Eevees, and that was it. And I got the one card, and it's sealed. It's from the original Pokemon Center. When I bought a Brilliant Stars ETB, like a Pokemon Center one, and I was able to get the Charizard, even the special delivery Pikachu, or the special delivery Charizard, sorry, which came out during Sword and Shield. Even that was, via a voucher code. And that even I didn't go crazy. It wasn't like for the stonks. I didn't pay over the odds. I just waited for it to. It was almost like a lottery system, right? You get an email to say, yes, congratulations, you can get the special delivery Charizard. And I just ordered. I think I ordered like a Pokemon Go box, like a Alolan Executive V box, for like $19.99. I picked up something just to make it 20 pounds, and I got that as well. But yeah, they've. I don't know how limited that card is compared to the Pikachu. But yeah, I agree with you. This is something that I was able to get, and I'm happy I was able to get it. And if it's worth a lot of money in the future, it is what it is.
That's better.
I could have sent it for grading. It's been sat here for so long, and it's quite well scented, but I haven't even thought of grading this, to be totally honest.
I mean, I don't know if keeping it, is that a card saver?
It's a card saver, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, maybe it might be better than keeping it on a top loader, because the pressure on the card being in the promo pack.
So you see the crimping here?
Yeah.
It actually only affects the sort of the white sort of backing card. The front of it, it's completely flat. That's the reason why I don't mind putting it in a top loader. And these top loaders are actually quite loose. They're not like tight, like sorry, not the top loader, this semi-rigid. Top loaders, bro, I would never put cards like that, and I'll just put cards like this in.
Yeah.
So you know about Sabrina's gaze, right?
Got a waifu fan?
I am a waifu fan, but this card is actually a banned card. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So this was banned for her middle finger being stuck up with the Master Ball, right? But yeah, I'm a bit of a. I'm not a huge waifu guy. I got Skylar graded. This was one I pulled from Shining Fates myself. She came back an 8. So this one actually, at some point in the future, I want to crack it and resubmit just to see whether or not I can actually get a higher grade on it, because I think the card is clean, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
If it's, I don't I don't like to have my cards graded. I mean, my philosophy is, so all the singles I have right now, they're not a. I don't really have a PC, so I'm like a true, real, evil investor at heart. Do I like the singles? Do I like the artworks? Yes. Part of the singles I have right now are because either I'm making them as play. That video I talked about, that it's gonna come out once I sell all the cards I need to sell in order to make that video. So it was gonna be like, I bought this because of this. I actually sold it. I made a profit or a loss. Again, no losses recorded yet. That was why that's how I did it. So I talked about it. If I were to have a good offer tomorrow, would I sell everything? Yes, but it wouldn't be realistic because the offer would need to price in all the future gains I may be losing on by selling tomorrow. So that's the only reason why it's not going to happen, because let's say I think everything is going to triple in 5 years, then I want triple right now, which is not going to happen.
Yeah, that's the unfortunately one
But
of the.
If for the right price, I had no problem saying it right now. I'm not gonna cry over it. Would I be sad? Not really. Again, I don't develop emotional attachments. Do I like them? Yes, absolutely. I think they're gorgeous. But I'm an evil investor at heart. There's nothing I can do about it.
The question is, Barrett, what would you do with the money?
That's a good question. Either put it back into some other Pokemon, or I do. So actually, Pokemon is a pretty, compared maybe to others, a pretty significant, or at least to what other PokeTubers say, as well as yourself. I do not have, let's say, 5% of my portfolio allocated to Pokemon. It's about, and I also, so when it comes to sealed, it's basically all of it. It's Pokemon. When it comes to singles, it's actually the big cards are, and there are 3. They're Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they're
Very
expensive Yu-Gi-Oh cards. One of them is a prize card, actually, which I never showed here on the channel. I don't know what you know.
Do I get the exclusive?
I don't know what you know about Yu-Gi-Oh, but this is
Yes.
I'm covering the cert number because I don't want to see it because of people may
Yeah.
replicate this cert. So this card, I know it's 2009 Dark and Dragon Shonen Jump Championships. So this card was awarded in 2009 to the winners of the Shonen Jump Championship, which are now called YCS, Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series. Now these, up till 2009, so I think it was 2000, so they started in 2004 in the US only.
Okay.
And then up till 2004, 2005. And then in 2006, they also made Europe exclusives, which they're called Faro Tour. And then they got back to just call them Shonen Jump Championship Series once they just made them both Europe and the US under the same name. So this card was only awarded to the winner of this championship, and it's kind of, you can compare it to like a maybe a the play promos that you needed to win points. Obviously they're much cheaper than
How did you come in? Did you buy these? Was it a conscious effort to get hold of these cards, or did you just
so for this one, so the problem with this prize cards, the Shonen Jump, is that they're really sought after. And so actually this one is like the cheapest one. Oh wait, this one is the cheapest one, and it's the last one. So this series of championships was from 2004 to 2009, U.S. exclusive, and then they turned into what is now called YCS, Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series. The fact that being the, let's say, you had these was the main tournament, and then you had Worlds. So this was right before, in terms of a scale, right below Worlds, and then you just had locals and stuff.
So like regionals.
Yeah, and so this are really sought after. So you won't find many, and the estimated population of this card, not graded, printed, is in the low 100s, and that's the one that was printed the most. Against with this one and the first one were the one with the highest population, and it's estimated in the mid to low 100s. Again, not graded, in existence. So that's this crazy. Is a PSA 9, and to get this one, I found a listing on Card Market, Italian seller. It was end of August last year. I think it was last year. I don't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. So I picked it up in person because this is pretty pricey. I didn't want it to ship it. So I'm in the north. I'm in the northeast. I'm actually near Venice. I had to go to Turin, so I need to cross Italy from the north. It's and I went on a daily trip, like 3.5 hour train ride, one way. So a total like 7 hours of travel on the same day to pick it up in person and bring it home. And yeah, these are pretty. I mean, you can find them, but they're not easy because most of them are in collection of rich people who have the old set.
Yeah, I know nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way, but it's impressive. If there is if the total population, not including, including graded, is in the, that's nuts, bro. That's actually nuts.
Yeah.
Props to you, bro. By the way, you know that 7-hour trip for your US viewers that watch this they're gonna laugh at us. They're gonna think 7 hours? It's nothing. That's around the corner. I've got some friends in the States, right? And then they tell me, oh, I'm going to the show, or I'm going to pick up some product, or I'm going to pick up a card or some cards. And it's not far. It's only like a 5-hour drive. I'm like, what the hell?
But you know what's the thing with driving? So I don't know if you saw this. I went on exchange year in the U.S. So I know a few things, at least what I learned. So driving 5 hours in the U.S., it's nowhere near driving 5 hours in Italy. If you heard, the stereotypes on Italian driving, they're real. They're all real, people.
So that trip that I wanted to do along the Amalfi Coast is not going to happen then?
Don't drive. Don't rent a car. I'm telling you, man.
My dream, I'll tell you this is, and I'm not saying this because I'm on your channel, but one of my lifelong goals, aside from becoming a multimillionaire from Pokemon, is to get an old school drop top convertible, and like an old Citroen or an old Fiat or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just a drop top old school car, and just drive along the Amalfi Coast with the top down.
What an interesting dream.
I would love to do that, bro, because the views, the roads, I know people that have done it, and it's stunning. I mean, I've driven to Lake Como before. I've driven through sort of Italy. I've done trips to Europe through Switzerland and stuff, and bro, it's just stunning, absolutely stunning, man.
Yeah, it's just the driving part that kills you. That's what it's all about. But yeah, great. So yeah, I mean, all this to say, actually, I'll go start to my percentage of cardboard investment. So I'm actually, as of right now, it should be about 25%, 30%.
That's quite a
Uh,
lot. But then again, bro, like we were talking earlier,
it
everybody's situation is
yeah,
different,
it's
isn't it?
different. And I mean, I'm 23. I live at home with my parents because I go to
Hmm.
school. I
Yeah.
If God wants, uh, I should graduate this September. I'm missing one exam. That's all I need to pass that, and I'm done.
Mm.
Um, finally, and then on to my master. But so I obviously I know you have kids, you have a family, you you got
Bills.
responsibilities,
Yeah,
bills.
yeah. Mortgage, car, insurance, 20 different things, bro.
What are my expensive? My expenses? Pokemon. I have zero expenses. I don't, so I have a different risk tolerance. Like, uh, you know, 20-30% is in Pokemon. Another 20-30% is in crypto,
That's smart,
and the
bro.
rest the
That's
rest is the
really good.
stock market. And I mean, remember, I'm a mathematician. I don't know the future, but I know math. And the most successful traders in history are mathematicians. Now, I'm not saying anything, but that's just how it is. Uh, no financial advice, guys. No financial advice.
The question is, what kind of traders are they? Are they day traders, position traders, swing
No.
traders?
Like quants are
Can't see it.
mathematicians.
Yeah, yeah,
Mathematicians, physicists, pure scientists.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Quants are generally mathematicians, as
yeah,
well as actuaries are generally mathematicians
yeah,
as well.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and actuaries make a ton of money.
Actually,
If,
there's a
in
master's
fact,
degree I
just to
can
tell the
make.
audience what an actuary is, to simplify it, an actuary is a person that works out risk when it comes
Yeah,
to insurance for
yeah,
large insurance companies, right? This is so the way an insurance company will value a premium, as in what you're going to pay for life insurance, car insurance, any insurance you can
pet
imagine.
insurance. Yeah,
An actuary, yeah, an actuary is the person that will sit down and do the math to work out what you must be charging
in order
every
for
single person that
yeah
you sell a policy in order for them to still be profitable
profit.
and be still
Exactly.
be able to pay out.
Well said.
That's
Well said.
crazy, bro.
All set. So we got some questions. So I might, man. We got a big M in the chat. So a fellow British man in the chat. So we got two questions. The first one is if we can talk. So yeah, guys, keep them coming. Can I talk about our thoughts on scanning boxes? I think mainly packs so far. Which actually I did. I think I did have that question written down. I forgot. So yeah, well, you go first, man. What's your think on the old CT scanning thing? You know
So
what?
what
I'll
I
go
think
get
about,
some water while you answer.
yeah, yeah,
Don't
do your
swear.
thing,
Don't
and then
show
when you
anything
come
you
back,
don't want to
I'll
show.
grab.
Yeah, I'll be. Yeah,
No
you
problem.
just answer.
Yeah, no problem. So, with regards to CT scanning, guys, like, look, I think that it is, there are some risks associated to it. I know that there's a company now that is offering um, $75 to look into a box. I haven't done, literally, the news just dropped today, so I watched OK J Love's video on it. He did cover it really, really well, but I was kind of in the car and I had it on in the background. Look, I already spoke about this previously in one of my comment sections on one of my videos, where I said that there is a use case for authentication. Now, instead of it actually, my hot take is, instead of it actually crashing the market or killing the market, I think we'll do the opposite. And the reason why I think we'll do the opposite is because we are not going to know what boxes have been scanned and what boxes have not been scanned unless we're told they've been scanned. So it's neither here or there. The ones that are being scanned will be scanned, and those will be sold at premiums if they hold specific kind of cards in them. So that what that actually does is it actually lifts the market up on those products in general, right? But I think the here and now, um, it's really difficult to say. Like, I don't know for sure whether or not it's going to make a big, huge impact immediately. They're still working on being able to look into cases. They're also still looking into looking through multiple booster boxes. Um, I think the drive towards it, the logical drive would be that buying from a non-trusted secondary gray market source will become a bit of an issue. And that is more to say, like, there'll be drive towards buying either from official distribution, um, from the Pokemon Company direct, or buying from. And I use the term trusted sources loosely, but I do know some people that I would trust, that I've built up a relationship with and have a rapport with over time, that I would happily buy a sealed product from, knowing that this had been through a CT scanner. So then I think in that case scenario, the best and the most trusted will win, and it'll probably kill off a lot of secondary market sellers, um, if it becomes accessible and they're able to look through cases. But again, like I said, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future, but it is definitely concerning that they can look into boxes, and at some point they're probably going to be able to look into cases as well, and it's accessible to anybody and everybody at a very short, small cost, $75. And that's actually quite scary.
Yeah. Are they? Because I stopped at the fact that we were looking at packs. Are they already still? I mean, are they looking into
Oh,
boxes now?
okay, J Love did a video. Make sure you watch it. Like, he did it today.
Oh,
Um, I've had my disagreements with J Love in the past. We've had conversations. Great guy though, really, really good person. Um, he did a really good video on this. Yeah, make sure if you have time, guys, make sure you go and check that out. Obviously, subscribe to Barrett and myself, but check out J Love. He covered it quite well, but they can look into booster boxes now, bro.
okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I spend my days either studying or yeah, mostly
I'm just
studying.
gonna top up, yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna top up.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Yeah. So, uh, what I think is so. Bass talked mainly about how it would affect the market. Um, being a man of science, a young man of science, I have two thoughts. The first one is uh, how I'm not surprised this thing exists. We can send rovers to Mars. We can send uh, shuttles onto space, traveling out of the solar system, out stretching onto the Milky Way. Yes, the allocations for those projects are quite different, but I'm not surprised. Um, and what I'm surprised of is I haven't. I've only heard the news, and I've seen some pictures, videos of the scans and the hollow that was recognizable. Um, so my what I think is the other thing I think is, are these sources? I'm not talking about JLove. I'm talking about people sharing these pictures, videos of scannings. Are these sources reliable? The reason I say that is being once again a young man of science and an evil flipper. If I were to build a machine that could scan packs and boxes, and I was able to know, just not without opening the box, if there was a card worth pulling that could make me profit, so I could open the box, open the pack, make money, and sell the other packs or boxes, why would I lick that information, would it make more sense to shut up, use it to my advantage, and make a ton of money? I don't get that part. That part, as a rational individual, is what I'm missing.
Well, I can try to sort of touch on that. So looking at it from a business perspective, I think that there is a use case for making it public knowledge because
Yeah.
you could maybe scan, I don't know, 10 cases of evolving skies and be able to pull out one Umbreon VMAX, which is not guaranteed to be a 10, by the way. And you could pull out the Rayquaza and the Espeon and all of the evolutions, right? From that, say those 10 cases. The cumulative value, and you can do this across hundreds of cases and thousands of cases, like somebody like Rudy would really benefit from this, right? But the average person won't. So the business case of it would be with that there is millions of people with millions of boxes and millions of products that would be potentially willing to pay $75 a pop per scan. So the money you would make would actually it potentially, and I haven't done the numbers on this, I'm just spitballing now, I'm just literally just spitballing this. But having heard you while I was getting the drink, I was just thinking, like, if I had access to hundreds of thousands and millions of people that are willing to pay me $75 a pop just to look inside the box, I'll probably make a lot more money than I would being able to scan every single box on the planet and pull out all the chase cards. And also, the one concern I have about this, actually, which I haven't heard anybody speak about yet. I hope this makes this live go viral, by the way, when it's published, right? For
We
your
can only
sake,
hope.
we can only hope, for your sake as well as my own, is can the people doing the scanning be trusted? And I
That-
tell you this
That was
because
one of the first thing I said. I said, is this source reliable? And I said, I'm not talking about jail reporting the fact.
yeah,
Are these people leaking announcing that there's this CT scan? Is that real?
also say it is real, and
Which is possible, to be honest.
you're the average Timmy, and you send your Fusion Strike booster box in, just the one box, and there's one of these in there, right? And this card is now worth $1,000. How do I know that the people doing the scanning will just take a booster box that doesn't have the Gengar in it, send it back to me and say, sorry, mate,
Oh, yeah.
there was no Gengar in there.
Which kind of goes back to my point. Like, why would you announce it if, you mentioned about the business model, which you can make, which I agree. Also, you mentioned, $75, $80 to charge to scan a box. Is that just a random number, or have they announced that?
So again, like I said, I was listening to J Love's video in the car while I was driving, and he mentioned a $75 cost per item. I think it is per item. So you could send in, I don't know, 10 booster boxes, and there's $750 to scan all 10 boxes.
So yeah, that would obviously.
But
only
I might
make
be wrong. I might be wrong, by the way. But this is what I heard while I was driving.
If that was true, which I doubt, because that would only make sense for vintage or high-end products. It wouldn't make sense on a modern box, because roughly that would be, 75, 80, roughly be your EV on a modern box. So it would make sense to open it or not scan it. It wouldn't make sense to, send it and pay that price, because that's your EV. So that box is already worth $75, $80 the moment you open it. On average, that's what.
It's also it's the cost benefit analysis. So like, I think inept card collector said this quite well, and this is actually something I'm sort of exploring now, because obviously we're not going to know all the risks. Hindsight is always 20/20. But I think there's a use case for verification for ultra high end vintage or really expensive product in the Pokemon hobby. If you're talking about Pokemon, there's obviously Yu-Gi-Oh, there's Magic.
You mean like authentication or
authentication? So we can see what's inside the box. So like, like a base set, a shadowless base set box or a first edition box, or even just the normal first edition jungle or fossil, whatever. So I think there's a really good use case for that. Now, whether it's used for that or not is, it's
But
all speculation.
I mean, at that point though, you would know the content of the box though. It's like you would say, okay, this box is legit. The cards in the box are the cards from the set, but you'd also know what cards they are.
Oh yeah, of course, 100%. I
So
mean, like,
that's
look,
also
if
the
this
downside.
that is the downside. So the use case for something like this is like the whole Logan Paul thing again. That's it's questionable whether or not any of that was genuine. It was probably all made up anyway. But let's just say it was genuine. In that scenario, it would have been very quick and easy for them to verify: are these packs genuine packs
Yeah.
from base set, or are they GI Joe packs?
I mean,
And that whole saga would never have taken place. But
these
I think
services.
Inept is correct, bro. I do think Inept is correct. I think the average reseller is going to struggle and have problems if this becomes widely available. But we still have your game stores who just get product, want to churn and burn. You have your big box retailers. You got your Walmarts, your Targets, your Costco's, who are just not going to be putting pallets of 151 UPCs through scanners. Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that market will just grow. I think that will grow, and then the people in the middle, potentially people like you and I, actually, who are buying cases and blister boxes, who want to offload this product in the future, the fingers will be pointed at people like us, and that's, I think, where credibility will play a huge part. Is this person? And I know credibility doesn't stand for a lot in the hobby because there's scammers everywhere. I've been scammed. I'm sure most people watching, I hope they haven't been scammed, but a lot of people have been scammed about for stuff. Inept Card Collector was scammed literally recently. Actually, I was following
Oh.
that person's Instagram stories, and it'll just become a matter of trust at that point. Do you have the credibility as a reseller or somebody like us who are investing, who will be able to offload this product? And this is where what I was talking about earlier, the network, the connections, the people makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I guess as the first thing I
There's too
said is,
many variables.
yeah.
The other problem is, again, sorry, I'm just spitballing. I'm just speaking my mind here. The other issue could be is that it becomes widespreadly available, and when you go to sell your product, the buyers go, well, actually, what we want to do is we want to run this through a CD scanner to see what's inside, and if we like what's inside, we'll buy it. That creates an added layer of complexity with trying to offload product, potentially. Like, I'm just saying this, it's just something that I would, as a business, if I was buying product and this tech was freely available at very, very cheap prices, because look, it's $75 now. There's nothing to say that when this becomes widely available, we get to the point where it's $20 a box, or the same as the cost of grading a card. You pay $15 to grade a card with PSA. You can now pay $15 to have a box
Yeah.
verified and see what's inside it with a CT scan. So these are some of the risks, but obviously we won't know. We won't really know straight away.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I still don't see the point in sharing this information to the public. I would have just kept it for myself. Because of not only I can make money if I just shut up and keep it to myself, by opening packs or boxes that do contain hits, but because of all the troubles, all the noise I would create into the Bolivian market, as well as TG markets. I don't know. Once again, I'm not surprised these things exist. As a young man of science, I'm really not surprised. I'm surprised people leaked this information. They just released it, and I think that's partially. I don't understand if it's true. is the technology there? Absolutely. I would need to ask my a friend of mine who's a biomedical engineer, and it is specialized in PET scans. But I'm pretty sure the technology is there. It was just a matter of someone spending some money to build the machine and
Yeah,
some
look,
engineers.
that's where the cost benefit analysis really seeps in. Like, do you know what I mean? If it depends on how accessible and how cheap it is. So if you're going to spend $100 on a booster box and then you're going to spend another $75 scanning that booster box, is it going to work out for you if the top chase card in that set is only $120?
Yeah, exactly. That's why, as I said, and you also said, it mainly works for vintage.
Yeah,
That's where the
definitely. I
play
think
is.
there's definitely a use case there for really high-end vintage stuff.
Yeah.
I think with ultra modern, I don't think we have to worry too much. There'll be plenty of time for people to go out and still buy boxes, cases, um, and not worry. Especially if you're buying from a reputable source, you should be fine.
Yeah.
If you're
I
buying from
mean,
resellers on eBay, there might be the risk, but then do the cost benefit analysis. What's the potential if you're buying it to open the box? What is the potential of somebody having scanned this when the chase card is worth less than what the box, including the scan, would be, to find out what's inside? I just think that it's the hottest trending topic right now. That's what everybody's making content on it, and it's sensationalized. Everything that makes a sensational headline does well online, and it's a trending topic right now. I mean, I made a video just talking to the camera. I've got over 1,000 views on it, and all I did was sit in my chair, say, "Look, guys, don't worry too much about it right now." And that just shows that it's the hot trending topic. Everybody's going to talk about it in a way where it's doom and gloom. It's the end of the hobby. Everything's going to burn to ashes. It's not going to happen anytime soon, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but in my opinion, I don't think it's going to make a huge impact right now.
So we got an interesting thing from Inept. It says, referring to the guy about the CT scan, showing it to the public because it's the first to market. That's historical, and it's patent. It'll sell the patent or whatever, make millions. So what I want to ask is, did they patent it? Like, is that a confirmed source? He patented something like this, or is it just you saying it did? If you that's the question.
I
And
think
then,
that's very far fetched. I mean, it's a CT scan.
yeah, I mean,
I don't think you can. I don't think you can patent that technology. I mean,
yeah.
it's widely available.
Plus, here's one example to show you what my point is about why would you not keep a secret. So in the I think it was mid 80s, when options in the market, not necessarily stock market, options, the financial instruments were first introduced, people did not know how to price them. They did not know how to sell or buy. What was a fair price? So eventually, Black, Scholes, and Merton came up with the model, which is now called the Black-Scholes-Merton model, to price options. And they won a Nobel Prize in economics for that. I think it was in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And that's an equation that comes from heat. Now, they were the first one to release it to the public. They were not the first one to use that sort of mathematical model to price options. The people, and it's public knowledge. I mean, not public. I mean, you can fact check me on that. People who already were using that model, but they would just shut up, use it, made a ton of money because no one else knew how to price those things. No one else came up with that idea. So they found an efficiency in the market they were able to price that stuff, and they made a ton of money. Now, that's what I'm saying. If you find something that can make you money and you have an edge, why would you release it to the public? The only way, as you said, and you guys said, it's publicity, potential to market, make a different business model. I guess that's where you want to go, but I don't know. It just maybe just
Bro,
my
I think
opinion.
that
I would just kept it for
I
myself.
agree with you, bro, but I think the path to least resistance for being able to really make this pay is to make it available to the masses. Because as a business, you have access to millions of people across the world. And let's not be fooled, the amount of people that are involved in not just Pokemon TCG,
Yeah, TCGs.
Magic,
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh,
any card
Magic,
game.
or any card game, One Piece.
Yeah, but wait a second though. Any card
Huge.
games needs to be. I haven't watched the video. I always saw.
Anything with a holofoil, anything holofoil or textured can be seen through the CT scan.
Yeah, that was a question. Like, what card? What type of holographics can they
So
see?
they tested sports cards, One Piece cards. There was another TCG in there, and there was Pokemon. But by the way, this technology has existed for a while. They've been doing this in sports for quite a long time, several years, I believe, where they've been verifying boxes and contents via X-rays, as well as with Magic as well. So this has existed with Magic. So it's not something new.
Yeah,
I think it's just that it's being picked up now by the Pokemon hobby and the Pokemon community, and it's
that's one of
creators
the
are making
largest. Yeah.
creators are making content on it that is causing this sort of trending, this havoc. People worried about it, but it's existed for a long time, and I don't know. My personal opinion on it, and this is just purely based on speculation and subjectivities. I don't think it's going to make a huge impact just yet. The higher end stuff, definitely, but like the lower end stuff, excuse me, I don't think is going to be too much
Yeah.
of a problem.
Yeah,
Just
because
buy your art model like you buy it. If you're investing in new stuff, just buy from a distributor, buy from a LGS that you buy from regularly, buy from trusted sources that are not going to be sending tons and tons of cases and booster boxes. And also, look, if you're buying stuff on release, which is not always a great idea, but say, for instance, you're buying stuff at release from a big box retailer or somebody like that, they simply don't have enough time to receive the product on release, send it to get it scanned, and then send it back out to you for release. Do you see what I'm saying? Normally, when you buy stuff that you pre-order, it's with you generally on release day because official retailers will get the product before release date so that they can send it out for release, right? So like when I buy stuff pre-ordered, like I bought some 151, Obsidian Flames, Paradox, a bunch of stuff, right? Powder Evolve. When I ordered from distribution, the cases land the day of release, which means the distributor would have had it way before then to be able to process that order for me to then get it on release day. So now if you're buying from sources like that, it's virtually impossible for those boxes to have been scanned because you're getting it on release, that very day or within a day or two. Generally, you might have a couple of days, delay, but it's just not going to be simply practical. If you're buying something maybe a few weeks down the line, a few months down the line, then of course there is some cause for concern. But bro, I agree with you. I wouldn't never say never in this hobby, and I wouldn't put it past exactly your concerns as to why this has been made so publicly. It's a hot take, but there's some credence to it. I think we could never say never. Essentially, what you're saying, there could be some weight to this as well, because why publicize it when you can use it to make millions of millions, if not more, potentially, especially with vintage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, as you said, I wouldn't be worried, especially for modern. As you will need to ship the products to them. So for modern, I really see no point.
Look, I think the other thing is there's also another Light Blue Lotus said that maybe this is an entry point for their digital collection. So, like, I'm assuming you're talking like NFTs or stuff like that. I think it's going to be a lot more simple than that. I think the Pokemon Company International, um, it's so big and they're so good at innovation that I think they have the capacity, if they wanted to create the product in a way where it can't be scanned. That's not impossible either. If you can create or have technology that can look through boxes, perhaps there is a way to create boxes that you can't look through. Again, I don't know. I'm not technical. I'm not a science guy. I'm not even a math guy.
Yeah, I mean,
So
first thing
I
that would
don't know.
come to mind is like put some sort of a shield, maybe of lead. Maybe just put some quantities of lead
Thin
in
layer,
before
yeah.
something that
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, as a, I mean, the beginning of my answer was, I'm not surprised. I mean, we send rovers to Mars. We send shuttles, satellites up into the middle of the galaxy, out of a solar system. I'm not
Mm.
surprised. I mean, badges, you know, allocations for these products are different, but I'm not surprised at all these things exist. I'm surprised they have been revealed to the public. I mean, revealed to the public as they were. It seems to me they were looking, they were seeking for attention, they were seeking for publicity, advertisement. Which, if as an app says, the guy said they're trying, to get a patent for it, it would all adds up. They want to sell it, they want to lease it, and so on and so forth. That's all I'll say.
It'll be an interesting few months. I think the back end of this year is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I still think though, like me personally, I don't have any concern because I mean, and I can only speak for myself in this. I am buying from direct from source. It's coming from distributors. It's coming from people that buy from distributors. It's coming directly from the Pokemon company. It's not exchanging hands on the way through. And if it is exchanging through hands, it's through hands that I know, I trust, and they just simply wouldn't have the time or they want to churn and burn product. That's
Yeah.
all they want to do. They want to get their allocation in and they want to sell it so that they've got enough funds for the next allocation. And that's it. And that's where I'm buying. So I don't have these concerns. But I can see that some people could potentially, but it doesn't really concern. It doesn't bother me at the slightest right now.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Agree. 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 Man, I think this is it. God, this is tiring. I mean, thanks a lot for coming on the channel.
My
You're
pleasure, Barrett.
you're always
My pleasure.
welcome. Always willing to come back. Have a nice chat. Hope that the people in the chat have fun, as well as the people who will watch. I mean, someone will watch it.
Thank you for having me on as well. I appreciate it. This is the first live stream I've done, and I'm happy it's you because actually, for a young man, I think you're extremely smart. I think that you have your head screwed on really, really well for your age. I think that a lot of what you talk about as well holds credibility. I think you deserve more subscribers than you have, but unfortunately, in this space, I said it before and I'll say it again. A lot of people are here just for entertainment. And fortunately for you, you're credible in the sense that you look at things very objectively. Of course, there is some subjectivity there. Um, but I think a lot of people. This is another reason why channels like yours and maybe I do a little bit of entertainment content as well, and I know you do that too. You're acutely aware of this. I think you deserve a lot more
Wait, wait,
subscribers than
wait,
you have,
wait.
and you will grow. The people that identify what you're doing, they are the kind of people you want to subscribe to you anyway. And that's people that think outside of the box, that have a bit more of a nuanced thought process, that know how to process information from a data-driven perspective. Yeah, I think you're going to do well, brother. You're
Yeah.
for a young
What
brother.
what was your bank account number again? Was it 1 3?
I'll text it to you, bro. I'll text it to you.
All right, all right. I genuinely appreciate it, man. But yeah, I told you briefly before we got started. The way I think it, I'm here. I try to provide some of my knowledge because if we were to tell you all the things I knew, um, probably Pokemon wasn't the right tool, the right media to use it. I try to apply the things I know to the Pokemon market. Um, those who want to listen and maybe learn something, I'm very happy. Those who find it boring, useless, they just want flashy thumbnails, you know, hearing a
Although that
joke every
that will
five
help you. That
seconds.
will help you.
It'll help. I cannot make thumbnails. I cannot make titles. But sometimes I do crappy thumbnails. They'll do well. I'll spend hours on thumbnail. It'll do bad. So I just don't care anymore. I'm here for the content. I try to make trying to give as much valuable content in every video that I can. And I know you do the same. And at the
That's
end of
good,
the day,
man.
that's all we can do.
Yeah.
People, I got a comment the other day, saying, "Oh, Barrett, you should, people don't watch your video. You should, answer more nicely. If you're nice, people will like you more." I was like, "Is that what's all about? Just having more people like me so they subscribe?"
It's
Or
being
just
inauthentic, and you don't want to do that, bro. You always
yeah,
want to be you. Be unapologetically you. I saw another video where somebody was talking about your accent, or like they can't understand you, or you sound like, I can't remember what it was. There was a video, really silly, and I'm thinking to myself, you're a troll because you're ignoring all of the valuable stuff that he's just spent 10 minutes explaining to you that you're not going to get anywhere else. But the thing you want to pick on is his accent. When English is not his first language, and he's doing his best to try and elaborate and explain something that is not commonly known to most people to you, the one thing that you took out of that video is that you can't understand his accent.
yeah. I mean, I just
It's
don't.
mind,
It
it's mind
doesn't
blowing.
touch me. But one thing I'll say, I always say is to those people, remember, my Italian is better than your English.
Uh,
But that being said, let's I'd love to have you again on the channel. We'll try to
It'd be
arrange
good.
that ASAP. And
Def-
speaking of that, I will try to end on a joke, on a note. Maybe you heard it. I this is just a joke, guys. It's no offense to anyone, just a joke. What do you call a person who speaks one language?
I don't know.
Like a native speaker?
Yeah, just a native.
Wait, oh yeah, I messed it up. Sorry. What do you call? That's why I don't tell you. What? All right, erase that. What do you call a person who speaks two languages?
Bilingual.
What do you call a person who speaks more languages, more than two?
Multilingual.
What do you call a person who speaks one language?
You got me stumped now, bro.
American. That's just a joke. That's just a joke, guys. It's just a joke. It's just a joke.
Oh gosh,
All
that
right,
is
guys.
hilarious. Well, you know what? We're both technically Europeans here, so we're gonna get hate from a lot of the Americans now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but the whole
Guys,
purpose.
don't unsubscribe. Make sure you stay subscribed. It is just a joke,
It's
a
just a joke, guys.
Joke, a joke. Yeah, it's not
But
serious.
uh,
I'm sure at some point he'll take the mick out of, he'll take the piss out of English people as well, and then at some point we can do this again, and I can try and think of some Italian jokes.
yeah, there's
It's
plenty. It's
fine.
just a
It's
joke. But um, the whole purpose of my channel was to build the largest channel in the European Union about playing and investing that it was in English, because there's channels every European language. I mean, every European countries will have PokeTubers in speaking their own language. You got Italian, Spanish, Germans, French. I wanted to be the largest channel in the EU from a non-English country, so Ireland doesn't matter. EU in English. That's
okay.
actually that was still a goal.
That's a
And
good goal. What's your goal for this year, bro? Just let's end on that note. I'll tell you mine, and then I want you to tell me yours. Yeah. So I'm at 600 odd subs now. So my goal from the beginning of the year was actually, I spoke to two of my friends who have been on my channel. If you've seen any of my old videos, there's a video of me opening a box, or opening some packs with two of my friends, right? So in 2024, I sat down with Rick, and he said to me, and with Jay, my friend Jay as well, and they're like, what are the goals? What are the plans? I said, look, if I can hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year, and I can get my 4,000 hours of watch time, I'll be happy. I'm about, as you know, 600 odd subs, and I'm about 2,000 watch hours in. So those hours are hard to get, man, the 4,000. But that's my goal for the end of the year. What's yours, bro?
we're talking YouTube. We're talking just general.
YouTube, just YouTube content creation, not
Well, so
general, because
I'm
that's
gonna be honest. I wouldn't mind, getting, as you said, the targets to get monetized. But I do this. I, d- I don't want to say for fun, because yes, I do enjoy it, but it's filming, editing, uh, prepare content, thinking about it. It's not as
it's
easy.
a lot.
It takes
It's a
time.
lot.
I do
It's
it
a
for
lot,
the.
man.
I just do it for the glory of it, because I like when people appreciate what I do. That's the best part of having a YouTube channel, having people, and as well as the chat today. Inept, Douglas, Mandeep, you guys been awesome. Thank you all for being here. And
Yeah, thank you,
like,
guys.
yeah, that's why I do it, because I just appreciate it, and the glory of it. So to be honest, I would like, just I'll be happy if it kept on growing. I don't make any money from it. I will most likely make none of it. I you know I don't have any interest in making this my primary source of income. I just do it for, nor a large source of income. If it happens, that's good. I'll buy more Pokemon. That's what I do. After all, I'm just a kid who's grown up or who doesn't want to grow up. Um, but yeah, to be honest, as long as the channel grows, I'm happy. As long as I can teach someone something that they didn't know, I'm happy.
That's
That's
good,
all.
man. That's really,
That's
really
all it
good.
is.
I mean, but the byproduct of that obviously is you can the quantitative measure. You're talking about qualitative measures here. The quantitative measure is likes, subscribes,
And
and
comments,
watch
guys.
hours.
Yeah,
Comments and watch
comments.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Let's do this again. I know it's quite late for you. It's quite late for me as well. I'm starving, so I need to go. Um, let's
Cool,
do
man.
this again, bro. It
Sure,
was a
man. Sure,
really,
man.
really fun experience. Next time we can do some more stuff. We can maybe do some. I can show you guys a little bit more of my card collections. We can
Definitely,
talk
man.
about trending
Definitely.
stuff in the market, anything new that comes up. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I really, really thank you. I want to thank you and all the whoever watches this and who has watched this.
Same.
for putting up with us for over 2.5 hours.
Yeah, too long, guys. Too long. We're cutting
It's a
it.
good one.
Time for bed. Almost midnight.
Almost midnight.
All
right, brother.
guys. Thank you, Baztoise, for being here.
Thank you so much, Barrett. Thank you so much,
And
Barrett.
have a great
Appreciate
night,
you.
everyone. Have a great evening, morning, wherever you are in the world.